right, we are back. This is still Crossfire. This is the celebration edition of the presidential election in 2015. Yesterday, General Buhari emerged as the winner of the presidential election, and he becomes the next president of this country. And I'm very sure everybody is looking forward to May the 29th when he will be sworn in. Now, before we went on the break, we were talking about, managing expectations. And, for me, I have great, you remember Charles's book, The Great Expectations. I have great expectations. Charles Incase. I have great expectations, believe you me. But my concern is just that, will Nigerians be patient enough to give enough time for the general and his team to effect the kind of changes that we're looking for? Everybody clamored for change, and all of that. But my challenge is that, how long do you think his team, himself and his team, should take to access what is on ground and then begin to implement whatever they are bringing to the table, really?
Putting a time frame on it may be difficult. It may be difficult, but let me tell you what can happen or may happen. Nigerians, interestingly, as we have all seen, have become more enlightened. Nigerians are now more politically aware. Nigerians are now more vocal about what happens about them. And also, kudos, thanks to social media and all of that, it also helps the process of information flow. Now, what may happen is, let me borrow a now popular terminology, body language. Thanks to Tambuwal. Nigerians will be watching, take it or leave it. Now, if they see positive steps, positive developments, showing a clear sense of their direction, they can be patient. They can be. But now they're also like the Romans, the fabled Roman citizens. If you read William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, this minute they are shouting, "Hail Caesar, hail Caesar." The next minute they're shouting, "Hail Brutus, hail Brutus." And after a few more hours, it's "Hail Mark Antony." And that's Nigerians for you. So you must be able to hold them down with positive steps. It's clear-cut positive steps, clear-cut positive developments that begins to impact on their lives.
But do you think the media also has a strong role to play?
Absolutely,
in
because whether you like it or not, most of the information we gather is from the media sources, the newspapers, the online press, and all of that. So if you've been having negative, for instance, one of the major things that was a big knock on the Jonathan administration, one of the major things was a fight against insurgency. Now, in all of the papers in the past 2-3 years, every day you wake up or every week you wake up, you see one negative. If there's not a bomb blast, there's some kidnappings. If there's not a kidnappings, it will be the soldiers fighting, running away from the front line. All of that was, no Nigeria was in the northeast. When I say no Nigeria, I mean the majority of the people who formed that opinion. We're not in the northeast seeing these things happen. They were reading it from the press. So all of that are factors.
And we can't forget the role of the press as the fourth estate of the realm. It's the role of the press to highlight and set the government on a good part and highlight issues for the public.
Setting the agenda.
Exactly.
Which is simply saying that is not a negative. From the fact that they are putting all of that out is not a negative, but it will definitely come out. The news will come out, the stories will come out. Some may be sponsored, but it will definitely come out.
Now, there were a few, there were pockets of agitation here and there, especially in Lagos State. A statement has been made rejecting and, dissociating PDP from the results, that we had yesterday. For me, with the
Lagos results.
Yeah, exactly. If the incumbent president, if President Jonathan came out yesterday, even before the last result was collated, even before the announcement was made by INEC, and it was very, very outstanding, especially when it came out strong to accept the defeat, as it were. But bottom line is, why can't I would have expected that the president would have called all the PDP, guys across the region, and if they are all present in Abuja, he should even have a short meeting with them and tell them, hey, guys, I think this election is free, it's fair, it's credible, it's transparent enough. Let us accept this defeat and let us go and re-strategize. why do you think? Because I think that there could be a lot of distraction if the next government is sworn in. If all of these litigations become so many, you know, against the result, exactly, it could hit up the polity again. I mean, before you know it.
I'd say the law must take its due course, and people must follow due process. So and let's not forget that it was not just the presidential elections that are held on 28th of March. Exactly. They also had the parliamentary elections. So if a particular group of people, or if the party secretariat and the body feels they have grievances with some election results in particular states, they have all the right, regardless of if Mr. President has conceded defeat or not. It's left to them to decide whether they want to withdraw.
You know, for me, it's a very long fight if care is not taken, because if you look at because if you look at the parliamentary elections, too, out of the 109 seats, PDP actually won 69, leaving just 40 for all the other parties to share. Not predominantly PDP anyway, but they came out tops again. You know, I think they're holding 69 out of the 109 seats.
Your information might be incorrect.
In the
Senate, the APC has a majority.
Yeah.
In the Senate.
The APC has 64.
64.
So that makes them the majority.
I mean, it's still the majority. I mean, that's just...
So now the question will be...
Out of 109.
The APC has 64. So they have a slight majority. But beyond that, let me take us back to the questions you asked concerning the Lagos PDP saying they have issues with the result. Now, the fact that President Goodluck Jonathan conceded and accepted defeat doesn't change and shouldn't affect and cannot affect the position of the party in a state.
In a way, is he not the number one person
it doesn't
in that party?
I'll explain it. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Now, because what he has done, he has looked at the overall figures and said, let's face it, even if they give the entire figure of the votes in Lagos to the PDP, it still doesn't win it for him. And that is why he has looked at the reality that if nothing can change, even if I get all of this, and he has said, based on this fact, I concede. Now the Lagos PDP are saying, we believe some of the seats. It's not just about the presidential votes. It's about the Senate votes, the House of Representatives, and they believe perhaps or clearly that some of the votes that went to the other party was done. I mean, I recall they said, according to them, that they won Ikeja, but it wasn't given to them. They say, I'm not INEC, I don't know what happened there. I wasn't on the field, I was in the studio. So they said that. So they have a right to contest all of those. How it turns out, whether they are contesting or not, it doesn't stop those who have been declared winner from going to take their seats at the Senate or the House of Representatives. Pending when the
findings of the
and that for me is one area that our legal process, our constitution needs to address. If you win a seat, supposedly, and somewhere down the line, you know, the court declares that there should be some punitive measures. I'm telling you, because I think, to deter people from, you know, upstaging or usurping the people's mandate. Exactly. If you have to repay all the salaries you've collected, people will be cautious.
You know, Ishoma is someone who, you know, particularly cannot manage, you know, the fact that this is, you know, an historic victory. You know, for APC. No, for APC.
Because I'm silent.
I have a question for you. Are you silent? You are never silent.
I am playing a whole lot in my head.
You are never silent. I'm just simply saying,
can you share
where do we see, exactly. I even have a question for you to help you bring it out. Where do you see, I mean, this government that you so much, you know, support and believe in, they are back, I mean, they are finally in. What will your expectation be? You know, we've been talking about managing expectation. What are you expecting? How early do you see a deployment of all the big promises that, you know, APC made? Finally, they have won the elections. I mean, how soon do you think we should start expecting? And which area do you think we will experience?
The truth is, I share the thoughts of amazing, you know, colleagues here. We cannot put a definite time frame to when.
Are you saying in 2 years' time, if we don't see anything, we should still be waiting for the change?
Now the thing is, we cannot put a definitive time frame, because when you do, now you will be the one hitting the mindset of the people. But one thing I know for sure is, let's look at the characteristics, the personality of General Muhammadu Buhari. We all know that he's a man of action. He's a man who knows he has a job to do, and he loves to do it. Irrespective, now he's an individual, which I believe.
I think it would have been right if you said
let's
Wait. If you say,
I know, well, the generality of the people of Nigeria know.
Interestingly, I don't share your opinion. And that's what our callers will be telling us on the show today.
Let's look back.
How much time are we giving General Buhari and his team for us to start seeing the changes?
I think
6 months is max.
We do not need to bench him to a particular time.
I am not. I'm just saying 6 months.
Let's not do that.
6 months.
What we need right now.
Much as I have a different,
Are you trying to say we should not expect anything
of course
this year?
we expect a whole lot from him.
This
but
year,
let him be
2015.
sworn
Don't expect.
in.
Let's be honest.
Let him
Don't
be
expect.
Coming
sworn
in May.
Let
We know he will be in.
Let us give him the support he needs.
I think 6 months.
It is simple.
I mean,
What do you want in 6 months?
Let us give
I
him the
just want
support
us
we
to
need.
begin to see the
What kind of
dividend of a
changes do we
true
need?
democracy.
What kind
I'm not
of
expecting
changes
that.
do we
I
need?
want-
So what do you
24
expect in 6
hours
months?
eradication of
Okay,
Boko Haram.
Okay,
6 months.
for instance,
What
don't
do you
forget.
mean?
And you see, on CROSSFIRE, when I stand to defend some certain points that I know too well, my knowing too well is not because I'm involved as it were, but because I know and I understand
listen,
this
Dapo.
political Nigeria very
There's
well.
And we
something
don't.
they call body language.
Your perspective may be
Listen,
different.
Dapo.
So you can't be telling us you know.
There is
Because we
something
also
they
The
know.
call
general
body
promised that
language.
if elected into office, if any of their promises and the manifesto content are anything to go by. Hold on, let me finish my thought.
Hold on.
Let me finish my thought. No.
It is CROSSFIRE. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, no. If you can't hold on for me to make my,
I'm not stopping you. I want to chip in so you can continue. What you should be saying based on what you have said is we should be holding them accountable based on, what's the word?
Statements.
No. Statement, yeah, but definite promises. For
Exactly.
instance, where he said,
Where he gave a
3
Haram
weeks.
Yeah.
in 3 weeks. But if you say
But
general
now-
expectations,
Exactly.
But now General
Exactly.
Muhammadu Buhari has not come out to say, in 5 days I will do this. I will
said-
restore
he
power.
said
it. He
Okay,
said
but
in
even
3
if
weeks,
he has-
Boko
He
Haram.
said it.
Okay,
3 weeks.
3 weeks Boko Haram.
Anyway,
Okay, so
the
let's start
outgoing president has
counting.
helped.
3 weeks.
Now,
It's almost done.
Let us
It's
start
almost
counting
done.
from.
So-
And you
let's
know
start
what I would
counting
even
from
expect him to do
30th.
now?
Yeah.
I am very sure President Jonathan
not
will
yet
listen to
president.
him. Hold on. I'm saying that
Jacob,
President
hold your
Jonathan will.
horses.
Oh no.
Where are you
He wants
rushing
all
to?
of us to
Wait,
hold
wait,
on.
wait.
Can I just express
But
my
one
thought?
thing is sure.
Can I
okay,
just
one
express
thing
my
is sure.
thought?
One thing
Yes.
is sure. What worked against President Jonathan was his body language. Irrespective of the fact that he gave time frames. It's one thing to say, I will do this. But when you see sitting down and acting nonchalant, like you're not ready to do it, of course, at that point, the people will say, you're not ready, and then they will criticize
True
you.
point. You might even be
General
acting
Muhammadu
behind the
Buhari,
scenes, but they're not
from
seeing a reflection of
behind,
it.
From even behind, way behind. Let's look at his antecedents in the past. We have all known him to be a man of action.
You have
Not
known
that.
him.
I have known him.
say you
You
have
have
also
known
known
him.
him.
Nigerians know
majority
him
of
I'm not sure.
to be a man of action.
In terms of discipline,
And I
the only
tell
thing I
you,
know.
I don't
listen,
quarrel.
but come on,
the only thing
I don't quarrel
you
with
and I
issue
know
very
that
well.
one of the major answers to restoring Nigeria today is discipline. Discipline in all facets.
I understand that.
Discipline.
I
Good.
quarrel with that
I
issue
am
of discipline.
telling you,
I
I am
quarrel with
telling you
that.
right
I'll tell
now
you
that
why.
let's
As
not
for
put a
integrity,
definitive
I may
time frame.
not be able to say somebody that you don't know too close. There is no way you want me.
Have
Hold
you
on,
ever
wait,
heard any reports of corruption?
I
They
have.
said,
I
they
have.
said there was none.
Which
have.
were
Hold
not
on.
proven
Hold
right.
on, Chooks.
You said- no,
Those
the
were
question
born,
was- no, hold on, the
born
question
out
is-
of malice.
The question,
was
no.
out
The
of
question
Those were
is, hold
born
on a
out of
minute.
malice to slander
Hold
his
on,
name.
hold on,
we're not
Can I-
malicious.
you
To
asked
slander
a- you
his
asked a
name.
question, can I answer?
Now my issue is,
You asked a question, can I answer? You said, have I ever heard?
Do you
And
think?
it is not about, what I heard is what's the word? Yeah, pre the election period. So it wasn't about malice.
The claim?
It wasn't
Or
about
is it a
malice.
fact? Is it a matter of fact?
Now,
it's one thing to hear, it's
No,
another thing
the
to
question
prove
is,
that
have
it's
you
right.
heard?
Of course.
The question is, have you heard? You didn't say, can I prove? You said, I told you I can't prove it.
I've heard.
The same thing, what I have heard. Not one about a couple.
Let's put this perspective.
it's
now, the general is actually known, the general is particularly known for some certain things. I mean, part of it was, his integrity. Discipline, I can vouch that he will do everything that he can to instill discipline in Nigerians, especially in so many areas that will become
That
so
is what
visible,
we need.
like we have seen before. Hold on, like we have seen before. I can
and that is
attest.
questionable,
Hold on,
and I'll tell you
Oh,
why.
no,
I
but
can
you should
attest.
understand that we have a democratic
Ishoma,
dispensation now.
that's what I'm
so
saying.
nobody will
Ishoma.
flog in anybody.
Precisely, that's why I said it's
Do
questionable.
not expect that.
That discipline
Now,
we
and
saw
now,
then
and now
is
the
questionable.
discipline
You
we're
can't
going
do the
to
same
see
way
now
now.
He
will
would
be
set the
discipline of
tone.
the
He
mind.
would lead
Exactly.
discipline of the mind.
Exactly.
He will
And that's
cut
what
the
we
waste.
need.
I
in
didn't
the-
say-
in the
Even
federal
if
I didn't
he's
say-
not there, you will
I
know
didn't
that
say-
you have a duty
Fiscal-
and an
fiscal
obligation to
discipline.
Let's
be
not talk at the
disciplined.
same time so that we can get our point. I'm saying that in another 6 months, I mean, the general will be in by the end of March. We have June to the end of the year to begin
No,
to
he'll
see.
be in
Hold
at
on.
the
By
end
the end
of
of
May.
May.
At the end of May, I
not
said
March.
No,
May.
sorry, at the end of May. By May the 29th is already sworn in. I'm sure by the first day in the month of June, the general is back in Aso Rock to begin to have, to set the pace for the change that Nigerians
Are yearning for.
Well,
are
we
yearning
have a
for.
call,
But
please,
before
if you
before
can
we
hold on
respond,
a
let's
minute.
take this call. Isa, good morning. Hello, Isa, are you there? Hello,
Hello.
Isa. Okay, now, so
Sorry, let's-
I'm saying that there is no way Nigerians, I know us, I am one of us, and I believe very strongly that a lot, because the expectation is so high, people will want to see one or two things happen
And they
before
will see. They
2015.
will
Please,
see. They
listen
will
that
see
call.
because it's going to scrap. For example, we
Let's take
know-
this call
Sorry,
from
please.
our good morning. Hello, Awa.
Hello?
Hello, Awa. Okay. Let's go on here. I
I'm
hope
not,
the
I'm
phone
not
line
a part
cannot
of the
act, you know.
government, but I can, from their promises and the manifesto,
And the
I can say
personalities
one
involved.
thing, and the personalities involved.
We can question that
I can
also.
say
We
one
can't-
thing for sure. In the first 6 months, the sort of things we'll see, maybe not infrastructure-wise, because you can't build. I wonder how many things you can build in 6 months. But the framework, for example, they will cut the waste in government. They will
Which
reduce
is
the number of
important.
ministries and parastatals. Then I'm sure they will cut the waste in government. So that's one big
I
achievement.
think
If you can do that in
the
6
National
months,
Assembly should
it's
get ready
really big.
for a proper pruning too.
Of course.
As far as I'm concerned,
Flamboyant.
I mean,
But they will need to vote
Allowances
to do
and all
that.
of that.
exactly.
I mean, the executive
It
can
But
give
then
an
this-
order.
When he says proper pruning, what does he mean?
Okay, I mean, proper
Everyone
pruning
understand that.
is to put a lot of measures in place to ensure that every opportunity, every loopholes where the Nigerian economy is being drained, is being drained through people earn so high and they do so little. You understand what I'm saying? People earn so high and they do so little, and I don't see any reason why Nigeria National Assembly will be rated as the highest paid almost in the world. I mean,
That is not
that's
going to happen. Don't
It's
kid
not going to
yourself.
happen
That's not going to
because
happen,
it's
Abi.
beyond
Don't kid
the
yourself. It's
government.
not going to happen. It's beyond the general.
And it's
It- it-
separation of
and-
powers.
and-
We need to understand
exactly.
the principle of separation of powers.
The legislature is
All right,
independent.
let's
Sir,
take
we
this
have
call.
a call, please. Bolu is calling us from Abuja. Good morning, Bolu.
Good morning. How are you today?
Very, very fine.
Chioma, congratulations.
Thank you so much, and congratulations to it. And congratulations to Benga. I don't know about
Congratulations.
And
Congratulations.
this, this young man that is there.
I don't know what they're
I
talking
say,
about, Bolu.
help me to tell him to give a Buhari at least some time.
Exactly.
Make him even allow the man to enter first.
Exactly.
Now,
He has said
why
that
is he so
now.
much
Has he not been
hurry?
declared winner?
Do you want me to form a currency
I'm not saying he should start working now.
The most important thing is that we thank God the election happens to be very peaceful.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank God.
very key.
Hello, are you still with me?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
We thank God the election is very peaceful.
Thank God.
At least that is my joy. But
Everybody's joy.
we believe that General Buhari is going to perform.
Okay.
Yes.
There is no doubt about that.
Bolu, can I ask you a question?
I'm with you.
For how long do you think, and I want you to answer me very objectively, for how long do you think you will wait to begin to see the changes that we are looking for? Hello, Bolu, are you?
I would. I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
Let's say that the first 6 months,
Okay.
they will begin to, see the change that we have been shouting
Okay.
by the grace of God.
Amen.
Hmm?
Amen.
He cannot do it by himself. we are looking up to God. We pray to God. God put him there. And we are going to uphold him by our prayers. And God, in his infinite mercy, we give him the wisdom, the strength,
All right.
and the health, and the long life that he needs to at least direct the affairs of this country for the next 4 years.
Thank
Or
you so very
possibly
much.
the next 8 years.
Thank you very
Have
much.
a great
Bolu.
day. I will invite you for the party.
Please, we'll be happy to
That would be nice.
join.
I mean, and send the flight. Make sure that you send us hotel booking details and then flight ticket. Really and truly. I mean, for me, this is victory for Nigeria. I mean, without having to sound, partisan, I'm just very open as a pro-Nigeria that we're looking forward to a very wonderful time with the general as the #1 citizen of this country.
Absolutely. We needed to get things right. The eyes of the entire world was on Nigeria. And so many people thought, they were surprised that we could pull this off. It's very rare in sub-Saharan Africa that you have a democracy, and even before official pronouncements, you have the incumbent congratulate and concede defeat. So it was a nice exercise, but we do have to remember that we've not perfected the system. And there's no perfect system in the world, but we can always strive towards it. Towards 2019, we need to assess Professor Jaga's work and look at where INEC got things wrong. In terms of registration, it should be a continuous process. You don't want, in 2019, people looking for their PVCs a few weeks to election. So we do need to take stock. And of course, the general is going to be president of the entire country. In areas where he didn't do too well, he needs to consolidate and bring them closer and form a more inclusive government.
What's your take on INEC, Chooks? I mean, in less than a minute, what's your take on INEC? Where do you see INEC, or what's your expectation of INEC as we approach, 2019? Because they have another 4 years, so prepare for another presidential election.
Also.
I mean,
First and foremost,
we should see it. We should see it as part of the responsibility.
First and foremost, in 2019, we're not likely to see Jega there. He has, I think, exhausted his 2 terms, I think. But beyond that, we have to give him kudos. Jega has done well. That is not to say that there are no areas where there were failings. For instance, one sore thumb, I've always been a Jega fan, but one sore thumb that Professor Tahiru Jega had was the fact that he told us before 14th that they were ready. And what played out after 14 showed that they weren't ready. So I sit back sometimes, try to imagine what would have happened if we had the elections on the 14th.
I mean,
otherwise he's done well.
All right. Really and truly, Crossfire gets so interesting by the day as we have a lot of issues to really tackle on the show. Our time is up and we need to leave the studio now. Thank to everybody who has been part of this show. We will be back tomorrow by His grace to bring another very interesting topic your way. And do stay out of trouble, shun violence.
Celebrate right. Do not drink and drive, and say no to violence.
We plead peace. We plead peace.